When a billionaire walked through the airport, the last thing he expected was to see his childhood love mopping the floor in silence. But what happened next, right in front of everyone, left the entire terminal frozen in disbelief. Stay tuned because you're about to watch a beautiful story and find out what happened next. Hello, family. Welcome to Tales Haven. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. The sun had already set over Los Angeles when Ryan Bennett, a 34-year-old billionaire, stood in front of the giant glass window in his office on the top floor of the Bennett Airlines headquarters. From where he stood, the city looked like a moving sea of light, cars glowing on the highways, buildings shining like stars. Yet, despite all the beauty outside, Ryan felt a quiet emptiness inside. He had everything a man could dream of: a mansion by the ocean, the latest cars, private jets, and people who respected him wherever he went. His company, Bennett Airlines, had become one of the biggest private airline brands in the country. The world called him a visionary entrepreneur. But deep within him, Ryan knew that success had cost him something money could never buy: peace. He turned slightly when his personal assistant, Lucas, knocked and stepped inside the office. Lucas was in his mid-40s, loyal, and had been with Ryan since the early days of the company. "Sir," Lucas said, holding a tablet, "your private jet is ready. The meeting in New York has been confirmed for tomorrow morning." Ryan nodded absently. "All right, we'll leave tonight." But he didn't move. Instead, his eyes stayed fixed on the night sky. Lucas noticed the distant look on his boss's face. It wasn't the first time. "Sir," he asked gently, "are you all right?" Ryan gave a half-smile. "I'm fine, Lucas. Just thinking." "About business?" Lucas asked. Ryan sighed softly. "No." "About life." He turned toward his desk and sat down, resting his elbows on the polished wood. For a moment, his confident mask fell, and a trace of sadness filled his eyes. "Lucas," he said after a pause, "do you ever think about the past? About people who were once part of your world, but got lost along the way?" Lucas smiled faintly. "I do, sir. I think everyone does." Ryan leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. "There was a girl once," he said quietly. "Her name was Lily Thompson. We grew up together back in Maplewood, a small town no one remembers. She was my best friend, my first love." Lucas listened silently. He had never seen Ryan so vulnerable. "She used to believe in me even when I had nothing," Ryan continued. "I told her I'd come back for her one day, when I made it big. But life moved too fast. I got caught up in business, deals, travel, and fame, and somehow she disappeared." He paused, his voice lowering. "I don't even know if she's still alive." For a few moments, silence filled the room except for the faint hum of the city below. Lucas finally spoke. "You know, sir, sometimes the people we lose are the ones we need to find again, even if it takes years." Ryan gave a small, tired smile. "Maybe you're right." He stood up and walked toward a large framed picture on his wall, a photo from his first office, when he had just started his business with nothing but dreams and borrowed money. In that photo, he looked young, full of energy and hope. Back then, he thought money would solve everything. But now, even surrounded by wealth, he felt lonelier than ever. He walked toward the window again, his reflection mixing with the city lights. Somewhere deep inside, he wished he could go back to the days when life was simple, when he could sit under the old oak tree in Maplewood and listen to Lily laugh about silly things. But those days were gone, or so he thought. "Lucas," he said suddenly, his tone firmer, "get the car ready. Let's go to the airport." Lucas blinked. "Now, sir?" "Yes. I need to leave before midnight. I'll rest on the plane." Lucas nodded and hurried out to make arrangements. As Ryan put on his long black coat, he glanced once more at the window. The reflection staring back at him was that of a powerful man, but also a lonely one. He whispered under his breath, almost like a confession, "Lily, wherever you are, I hope you're happy." Little did he know, destiny was already preparing the most unexpected reunion, one that would shake his heart and remind him that life has a way of bringing the past back when you least expect it. The morning after Ryan's quiet reflection, the city came alive as usual. Crowded streets, honking cars, and early flights rushing out of Los Angeles International Airport. At that same airport, Lily Thompson stood beside a cleaning cart, tightening the strap of her faded blue janitor uniform. Her eyes were calm but tired, carrying stories no one cared to hear. She had been working at the airport for almost 3 years now. Every day felt the same: mopping floors, cleaning restrooms, emptying trash bins, and greeting strangers who barely noticed her. Yet, she still did it with quiet dignity. Lily was 32 but looked older than her age. Life had not been kind to her. She had lost both parents in a car accident when she was 21. With no one to support her, she had to give up her dream of becoming a teacher. She took small jobs: restaurant cleaning, hotel laundry, babysitting, anything that could keep her alive. But through all the pain, she never lost her kindness. "Morning, Lily," said Maria, her friend and coworker, who pushed another cleaning cart nearby. "You're here early again." Lily smiled softly. "Couldn't sleep. The rent is due next week, so I took the morning shift too." Maria frowned. "You work too hard, my dear. You should rest sometimes." Lily chuckled weakly. "Rest doesn't pay bills, Maria." They both laughed lightly, though there was sadness behind their smiles. As the hours passed, the airport filled with travelers, business people in suits, families on vacation, celebrities with sunglasses, and children dragging small rolling bags. People walked past Lily as if she were invisible. Some dropped coffee cups on the floor right after she cleaned. Others ignored her greetings completely. But Lily had grown used to it. She believed that her worth wasn't decided by her uniform or how others treated her. Still, some days hurt more than others. Around noon, she took a short break and sat quietly in the corner near Gate 14, sipping water from a plastic bottle. She looked out at the large glass wall where planes were taking off into the blue sky. She smiled faintly, whispering to herself, "One day, I'll travel too. Maybe not today, maybe not soon, but someday." Her mind wandered back to her childhood, the green fields of Maplewood, the laughter, and him, Ryan Bennett. The name still echoed softly in her heart. They had been inseparable, walking home from school together, sharing dreams under the old oak tree. He had once held her hand and said, "Lily, when I grow up, I'll make your dreams come true." She smiled at the memory, though her eyes glistened with unfallen tears. "Dreams," she whispered. "They change when life does." Suddenly, her supervisor's sharp voice interrupted her thoughts. "Lily, you're needed at the VIP terminal. The floor needs cleaning before the Bennett Airlines flight departs." Lily quickly stood up. "Yes, sir," she replied politely and hurried off, unaware of the twist fate was preparing for her. The VIP terminal was spotless, decorated with silver pillars, marble floors, and the faint scent of expensive cologne from the businessmen who passed through. Lily quietly placed her bucket near the corner and began mopping in slow, circular motions. While she cleaned, she overheard people whispering about the Bennett Airlines CEO who was flying out that night. "Did you hear? Ryan Bennett is here in person," one staff whispered. "The billionaire himself?" another replied. "He's only 34. Can you imagine? I heard his airline sponsors charity flights too." Lily froze for a moment, her hand trembling on the mop handle. That name, that voice from her past. Could it be the same Ryan Bennett she once knew? She tried to push the thought away. "No," she whispered to herself. "There are many Ryans in the world." But her heart refused to believe that. Minutes later, a soft commotion filled the terminal. Security guards lined up, photographers flashed cameras, and employees whispered as a tall man in a dark suit walked through the glass doors. He was surrounded by bodyguards, his presence commanding. His steps were calm but powerful, like someone who didn't need to speak to be respected. Lily didn't look up. She didn't want trouble. She knelt down, cleaning a stain near the departure lounge. But as she moved the mop forward, her eyes caught the reflection of the man's shoes, shiny black leather, polished so perfectly that they mirrored her own tired face. She froze, her breath catching in her throat. Something inside her told her to look up. Slowly, she lifted her head, and the world stopped. The man standing in front of her, tall, handsome, composed, was not just another passenger. He was Ryan Bennett, the boy she once shared her childhood with. But he wasn't that barefoot dreamer anymore. He was a billionaire now, surrounded by wealth, dressed in a suit worth more than her entire year's salary. Her hands shook slightly as the mop slipped from her grip and hit the marble floor with a soft thud. For a few seconds, she couldn't move. Memories of laughter, promises, and their old oak tree flashed before her eyes. She whispered under her breath, barely audible, "Ryan?" But he didn't hear her. His attention was on his phone, giving quick instructions to his assistant as he walked toward the private gate. Lily bent down to pick up the mop, her heart pounding wildly. She wanted to call his name, but fear stopped her. How could she face him now, dressed in a janitor's uniform, with rough hands and worn-out shoes, when he had become everything she once dreamed of being? Her eyes filled with silent tears as she watched him walk away, his confident stride fading into the restricted section. To her, he was a memory that had come alive. To him, she was just another face in the crowd. Or so she thought. Because in the next moment, Ryan's eyes caught a faint reflection on the glass door, a woman kneeling with a mop, staring at him with familiar pain. Something deep inside him stirred, a feeling he hadn't felt in years. He turned his head slightly, frowning. "Wait," he whispered to himself. "That face." His assistant, Lucas, noticed his confusion. "Sir, is everything all right?" Ryan didn't answer. His heartbeat quickened as he turned to look again. But by then, Lily had lowered her head and continued cleaning. Still, that small glance had shaken something inside him, a hidden memory his heart could not forget. Ryan stopped mid-step. The reflection on the glass would not leave his mind, a woman kneeling with a mop, eyes full of a pain he somehow knew. He turned back. "Sir?" Lucas asked, puzzled. "Boarding is ready." Ryan didn't reply. He walked toward the cleaning area, slow at first, then faster, as if a pull stronger than logic guided him. Lily felt the air change. She kept her head down and moved the mop in careful circles, praying he would pass. Her hands trembled. "Please don't let it be him. Not like this." "Excuse me," a deep voice said gently. She froze. Even after all those years, she knew that voice. She lifted her eyes. For a heartbeat, the world fell silent. Ryan Bennett stood a step away, older, taller, refined, but the boy from Maplewood was still in his eyes. "Lily," he whispered. Her lips parted. "Ryan?" The name left her like a memory she had been holding underwater. He exhaled softly, as if he had been running for years and finally stopped. "It's you." They stared at each other, two different lives meeting on a polished floor. Lily's cheeks flushed. She reached for the mop, then pulled back, ashamed of a uniform, the worn shoes, the tired hands that told her story too loudly. Before she could speak, a security officer stepped in, voice sharp. "Ma'am, you're blocking the VIP lane. Please clear the area." Lily flinched. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, dragging the bucket to the side. Ryan's jaw tightened. "It's fine," he told the guard, calm but firm. "She's with me." The officer hesitated, eyes flicking between Ryan's face and the name stitched on Lily's uniform. "Sir, regulations." "She's with me," Ryan repeated. The quiet command in his tone ended the discussion. The officer stepped back. Lily swallowed, embarrassed. "You didn't have to do that." "I should have done a lot of things," Ryan said softly. "Like not losing you." Her eyes glistened. "Life happens." A beat passed. They both smiled, small, sad, real. Lucas approached, careful not to intrude. "Sir, your flight." "Delay it," Ryan said, still looking at Lily. "By how long?" Ryan didn't blink. "Indefinitely." Lucas nodded and slipped away to make calls. The terminal buzzed with whispers. A billionaire talking to a janitor? Phones lifted. Photos were taken. Curiosity rippled through the lounge, like wind over water. Lily felt the eyes on her back and wanted to disappear. "Ryan, people are watching," she murmured.
"Let them," he said.
"They weren't there when you shared your lunch with me in school because I had none. They weren't there when you told me I could be more than a poor boy in a second-hand shirt." Her breath hitched. "You remember that?" "I remember everything," he said, voice low. "The oak tree. The notebook where you wrote our dreams. The promise I made to come back."
He paused.
"I broke it." Tears filled her eyes but did not fall. "I don't blame you. You became someone important. That's what we prayed for." "I became busy," he corrected. "Important is different." Silence settled between them. Not empty, but full of things that mattered. "Can we talk somewhere private?" he asked gently. "Just for a few minutes." She glanced at her card. "I'm on shift. If my supervisor sees." As if summoned, her supervisor, Mr. Doyle, walked up briskly. "Thompson, what's with the delay?" "We have a VIP departure. Floors should be spotless." Ryan turned. "I'll take responsibility. I'm the VIP departure." Mr. Doyle blinked. Recognition spread across his face. "Mr. Bennett, of course. My apologies." He looked at Lily. "You have 10 minutes. Do not leave the terminal." Lily nodded. "Yes, sir." Ryan offered a small smile.
"Come."
"There's a quiet corner by the window." They walked side by side toward the wide glass wall that faced the runway. Planes lifted into the pale sky, their wings catching light like hope catching breath. They stood a little apart, the distance of years between them, and still their hearts leaned closer. "How have you been?" he asked. She chose honesty. "Surviving." He nodded, accepting the weight behind the word. "You wanted to be a teacher." "I did." She traced a faint circle on the glass with her finger, then let her hand fall. Life turned. "I followed." "Alone?" She hesitated. "My parents died when I was 21. After that, it was just me." She managed a small smile. "But I'm still standing." He looked at her the way one looks at a lighthouse, with respect for what it has faced. "I'm sorry, Lily." She shook her head. "Don't be. Grief taught me to be gentle. Work taught me to be strong." "And what did love teach you?" he asked before he could stop himself. She met his eyes. "That it doesn't always wait." The truth settled between them like a folded letter. Ryan took a quiet breath. "I should have come back." "You were chasing a future," she said. "I was learning how to live with the present." A boarding chime sounded in the distance. Lucas raised a hand from across the lounge, a silent question. Ryan waved him off. "Let me help," he said suddenly. "With what?" she asked, confused. He glanced at the mop, then back at her. "With whatever keeps you awake at night." She laughed once, soft and disbelieving. "You can't mop my floor, Ryan." "I can try," he said, and meant it. A child across the lounge dropped a cup. It rolled and hit Lily's bucket, spilling a thin stream of water along the marble. Instinct moved her. She reached for the mop. Ryan reached too. Their hands touched the wooden handle at the same time and stilled. They both looked down at their fingers, hers rough, his careful. When their eyes lifted, something old and unbroken stood between them. "Some things don't change," he said. "Some do," she replied, but her voice was warm. A shadow fell over them. The security officer had returned, gentler this time. "Mr. Bennett, a private lounge is open if you'd like privacy." Ryan nodded. "Thank you." He glanced at Lily. "Will you come?" She looked toward Mr. Doyle. The supervisor gave a stiff, reluctant nod. 10 minutes, Thompson." They walked into the quiet lounge, soft chairs, muted lights, the scent of fresh coffee. The door closed behind them, and the noise of the terminal faded like a distant tide. "I don't want you to be embarrassed," Ryan said first. "Not for 1 second. You've done what very few people can do, face life, and keep your heart." She blinked fast. "Please don't pity me."
"I don't," he said.
"I admire you." Her shoulders dropped, a small weight lifting. "Thank you." He sat forward. "Lily, I can't fix the past. But I can make a different choice now." Let me help with school, with anything you still want. You told me once that no dream is silly if it saves a life, even your own. She stared at him, stunned that he remembered her exact words. I don't know how to accept help without feeling small. Then let me give it in a way that makes you bigger, he said softly. Not charity.
A door.
In the silence that followed, a plane roared down the runway outside, gathering speed, lifting, disappearing into cloud. Lily's 10 minutes were almost up. She stood. I have to go back. Ryan rose with her. May I? He stopped, choosing care over impulse. May I see you again? After your shift.
Just to talk.
No pressure. She studied his face, not the billionaire on magazine covers, but the boy who once split his sandwich with her under an oak tree. She nodded. I finish at 8. I'll be here at 8, he said. She reached for the door, then paused and looked back. Ryan. Yes. Thank you for remembering me. He smiled, a quiet, grateful smile that reached his eyes. I never stopped. Lily stepped out of the lounge and returned her cart. The whispers were still there, the work still waiting, the floor still shining under bright lights. But inside her, something steady had shifted. Not a miracle, not a rescue, just a beginning. Across the glass, Ryan watched her pick up the mop with new calm in her hands. He took out his phone and typed a single message to Lucas. Cancel New York. Prepare a proposal. We're building something here. Lucas replied almost at once. What are we building, sir? Ryan looked at Lily one more time and typed. A door that opens for people who are never seen. And for the first time in years, the quiet inside him began to fill, not with noise, but with purpose. The evening lights of the airport shimmered against the glass walls as passengers hurried to their gates. The loudspeaker announced boarding for the last few flights of the day, but Ryan Bennett sat quietly in the VIP lounge, his thoughts consumed by one person, Lily Thompson. He looked at the clock on the wall. 7:58 p.m. She would be done in 2 minutes. He stood, adjusted his tie, and walked toward the terminal where she worked, feeling nervous in a way he hadn't felt in years. When Lily finally removed her gloves and folded her cleaning apron, she felt exhausted but strangely lighthearted. She couldn't stop thinking about the unexpected meeting that afternoon. The way Ryan had looked at her, not with pity, but with the same warmth he once had as a boy. As she turned to leave, she saw him waiting near the exit, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. I didn't know if you still liked coffee with sugar, Ryan said with a soft smile. Lily froze for a moment before smiling shyly. You remembered. I remember everything about you, Lily. They sat on a bench near the quiet end of the terminal. The crowds had thinned, leaving only the soft hum of cleaning machines and distant announcements. For a few moments, they said nothing, just the sound of planes outside and their hearts catching up with years of silence. Finally, Ryan spoke. Lily, I can't stop thinking about what you've been through. You deserved a better life. She shook her head gently. Ryan, life doesn't always give us what we deserve, but it gives us what we need to grow. Her words touched him deeply. He stared at her, amazed at how the same gentle strength from their childhood still lived in her. You haven't changed, he said. You're still the kindest person I've ever known. She smiled faintly. Kindness doesn't cost anything. I learned that when I had nothing left. The next morning, while the airport buzzed as usual, an unusual crowd gathered in the VIP hall. Reporters, airport staff, and curious travelers whispered as banners were being placed across the terminal walls. The largest one read, Bennett Foundation for Airport Workers, because every hand that serves deserves to soar. Lily had no idea what was happening. She arrived for her shift as usual, pushing her cleaning cart, until Maria came running toward her, eyes wide.
Lily.
You're on the news.
What?
That can't be right. Lily laughed nervously. Maria pointed to a large screen in the terminal showing a live broadcast. Ryan Bennett was standing on a podium, speaking into a microphone. Today, he said clearly, we are launching a new program under the Bennett Foundation to support and uplift every honest, hard-working staff member in this airport, from janitors to baggage handlers. These people keep our world moving. yet they are often unseen. That changes today. The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. Lily stood frozen. Then Ryan looked directly toward where she was standing and continued. This program was inspired by one person, a woman who reminded me that dignity is not found in titles or wealth, but in character. Her name is Lily Thompson. The crowd gasped and turned. Lily's face flushed with shock as everyone looked at her. Her supervisor, Mr. Doyle, stood speechless, his usual stern expression replaced with awe. Ryan motioned for her to come forward. Lily, would you please join me? Her knees almost gave way as she slowly walked to the stage. The cameras turned, microphones extended. When she finally stood beside him, Ryan's eyes softened. He smiled proudly. This woman has worked tirelessly with grace and humility. She once dreamed of becoming a teacher. Today, that dream will live again. He handed her an envelope. This contains a scholarship and a management offer to head our new foundation project, so you can teach, lead, and continue to inspire others. Lily's hands trembled as she opened it. Tears blurred her vision. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Ryan took her hand gently. You already said it years ago, when you told me that success means nothing if it doesn't lift someone else. The audience erupted in applause. Many of the airport workers cried openly. Maria shouted, "That's our Lily." Even Mr. Doyle clapped, embarrassed but proud. Lily wiped her tears and turned to the microphone. Her voice was soft but strong. I never thought anyone would notice me, she said. All I wanted was to do my job well. But today I've learned something, that every small effort counts. Never think you are invisible. Someone somewhere sees you. Her words moved everyone to silence. Even the news anchors covering the event had tears in their eyes. Later that evening, after the cameras were gone, Lily stood near the same glass wall where she and Ryan had first spoken the day before. Ryan joined her quietly, his hands in his pockets. The sunset painted the runway gold. You changed my world again, Lily, he said softly. She turned to him with a grateful smile. No, Ryan. You changed it for everyone else. He chuckled. You were always my reason for doing better. A long pause followed, one filled with unspoken emotions that words could never fit. Ryan, she said after a moment, thank you for not seeing me as just a janitor.
He took her hand.
You were never just anything to me. She looked up at him, tears glimmering in her eyes. I was so afraid to face you. I thought you'd be ashamed of me. He shook his head gently. Ashamed? Lily, you're the strongest person I've ever known. You didn't let the world break you. You made it better, one clean floor at a time. She laughed softly through her tears. Outside, a plane took off, roaring into the fading sky. Ryan looked at it, then at her. Do you remember what you used to say? He asked. She tilted her head. What? That someday we'd fly together, not just in the air, but in life. Lily smiled. I remember. Ryan squeezed her hand. Then let's start now. She looked at him, her heart racing. Are you sure? He nodded with quiet certainty. I've been sure since the day I saw you again. Weeks later, news spread everywhere. Billionaire reunites with his childhood love who worked as a janitor. The story melted hearts across social media. Videos of Lily's speech were viewed millions of times. Under her leadership, the Bennett Foundation built housing for low-income workers, provided free education for their children, and offered training programs to help them grow. Ryan and Lily became an example of love that had matured through time and trial, a love that didn't depend on wealth, fame, or appearance, but on respect and compassion. One evening, they returned to Maplewood, their old hometown. The oak tree still stood in the center of the field. Ryan carved 2 simple words on its trunk. We kept our promise. As the breeze rustled the leaves above them, Lily leaned against his shoulder and whispered, It feels like we never left. Ryan smiled, his arm around her. We didn't. We just took the long way home. They stood there together, watching the sun fade behind the hills, proof that love, no matter how lost, always finds its way back home. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you find this story worth watching. If you do, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories, like and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thanks for watching.